welcome back to the Full 10 Yards Betting Podcast. I'm Liam, your host, and apologies to start that I was the culprit to why we unfortunately had to have a week off last week. But that didn't really matter for our picks, which we'll talk about in a minute. As always, for week 12, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Adam, Mr. Touchdown Tips. How you doing, mate, after a week off this pod, but not a week off supporting your Bengals?
Yeah, obviously, Sunday night was a rough one. I'll admit, I went to bed at early half-time because we couldn't stop anything. They had players running 20 yards free, and I thought, what's the point? Why am I giving up my sleep to watch this? And then woke up and found out that we probably should have won, and kind of glad that I didn't watch the second half because the hope, I think, would have killed me.
Tim's not on the pod anymore, but he's always with us in spirit, and it was the first week in like 2 years where all three of our teams had lost when I looked. 2.5 years nearly.
Wow.
Because the Cowboys obviously have won most of their games for a couple of years, and the Chiefs have done all right this year, obviously. So it was a bad weekend for anyone associated with this pod when it comes to games. But our picks are pretty good, 9 and 12. Maybe that says we shouldn't record a pod and we should just tweet out the picks, but we'll see how we do this week. You went 4 and 4. I went 3 and 4. Ravens -3.5 was the one that cost me. And then, Tim as well couldn't get the over right in that game. So both of us kind of got screwed from that game. And his touchdown was also in that game. So it feels like last week it was just the Ravens-Steelers game that really screwed our picks. But aside from that, great week for you with yours.
Yeah, I went Steelers +3, thought they'd win the game, and they won it outright. The 9th time in a row. Right, they've, I think it was, or maybe the 7th time in a row. They've beaten the Ravens now, which is just incredible. They haven't been good enough to achieve that, but they've been doing it. So Tomlin obviously knows how to play the Ravens, and not the game we were expecting. I was expecting 40-50 points. I did think it'd be quite a fun one, but I guess the way to play them isn't to attack their passing defense, which every other team has done. It's to stop them getting the ball. And Tomlin obviously knows how to do that, and Steelers did it, and they did it well. So well done them. They are now favourites to the AFC North. Pretty hard to go against them. But I don't think they'll do anything in the postseason, but who knows?
Who knows? It's crazy they're favourites. I think they were like 4th favourite before the season with the betting odds.
Yeah.
Crazy if anyone's back them before the season. But that's enough of last week. Let's move on to this week, try and win some money for everyone. As always, we're going to go through game of the week, then spread of the week, total of the week, and finish with touchdown scorers. So we'll start with game of the week, which is 49ers at Packers. Should be a good game. Packers favoured by 2.5, and the under-over is 47.5 as well in this game. What are your general thoughts? I felt there's a couple of games we could have chose from, but this one did jump out with where I think these two teams probably end the season. It's probably even stronger than where they are now. You'd like to think if you're a fan of these two teams?
Yeah, obviously it's bye week this week essentially, isn't it? It's 6 teams on bye, and there's some of the highest scoring teams. So there's a lot of the more exciting teams missing this week. So there was 2 or 3 that we looked at for this one, but this one should be good. Obviously they met in the playoffs last year. They do tend to meet in the playoffs every year, it seems, with mixed results. Obviously the 49ers have now got McCaffrey back. He's not scored in the first 2 games he's been back, I don't think. Can't remember if he scored last week.
So if they change his, I haven't checked yet, but I hope they bloody change those odds from the most heaviest on favourite ever now after 2 bad weeks.
That's what I was going to mention. I think he was about 2-5 again last week, and didn't do that much, and obviously they lost again. So it's not as gone as they would have expected. I think it's maybe Purdy getting found out a bit, and obviously Ayuk missing isn't really helping. But Juwan Jennings looks pretty decent. Debo looks, to be fair, I was going to say shadow himself, but he looks like 2 shadows of himself. Looks like he's a bit stockier than he used to be, which may be slowing him down a bit. Kittle should hopefully be back for them this week, which is huge for the 49ers offense. And then the other side of the ball, the Packers, they just seem to get it done at the moment. They're one of those, like the Texans, really. They're same kind of team. They're kind of plodding along, but they're putting up the wins. They're getting the record there. They're going to make the playoffs again. They've got a decent enough team. I say it every week on my previews. They've got a very good running back and a good trio of wide receivers to get the ball to. They could probably do with not throwing more picks. He has done in every single game this year. But they've been overcoming it. Their defense has been stepping up, and obviously a blocked field goal last week to win against the Bears was kind of stereotypical of what they've been doing this year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they could just do the run of Jordan Love staying healthy as well. Keeps getting these little injuries that seem to be impacting the offense. That's not quite as high powered as it was last year. But Josh Jacobs is playing pretty well as well. Like you said, allude to good running back. He can run the ball well. They just need Jordan Love to, yeah, like you said, maybe throw less picks, but also I think just stay on the field for the full game for a few weeks and just get into a bit of a rhythm on offense. But yeah, they did have a crazy blocked field goal last week. I think they've only got 3 losses as well for the season, so it's a good season for them. And then the 49ers were trying to bounce back because I think they're a couple of games behind now in division. I think Cardinals are now winning the division at 6-4, so it's a big game for the 49ers to, especially in conference, to try and win to stay in contention for that division. So yeah, it's a big game for both these teams. Packers will think they can keep up with the Lions. 49ers need to try and make the playoffs. So it should be a fun game in the late start of the weekend. Let's move on to best bet, and I'll get you to go first because me and Tim have kind of gone against each other. So why don't you tell us your best bet first?
Yeah, I said that they need Jordan Love to stop throwing interceptions. I don't. I've gone with him to throw an interception. I didn't know the odds. They've only just put them up, and it's 20-29. So it's a lot more odds on than we normally go with on this one. But because we're doing the pod a day early this week, I was struggling to find anything I really liked. Now that they've got lines up, I probably would have a nose around something else. But yeah, as I say, he's thrown at least one in every game this year. And the 49ers defense, while it isn't what it used to be, is still pretty good. So yeah, I was looking defensive score for the 49ers, taking it the other way, but yeah, I'll stick with what I've got with Jordan Love interception.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier he's been throwing a lot of picks this season, and he's had more. I think he's number 2 in. I don't know if you like this rating or not, but PFF do turnover worthy plays, so they don't necessarily have to be picks, but in their eyes, they quote unquote should have been picked. And I think he was second worst in that metric. So he is throwing the ball up to the defenders and giving them a chance to get it. So I think, yeah, it's definitely a good shout. And the 49ers, to be fair, their defense isn't as good, but one thing they are good at is getting turnovers. I think Fred Warner, nearly a turnover every other week is what he averages in the NFL. So, yeah, I think this is a pretty good bet for a player that keeps doing it. You'd like better odds, but like you said, there's a reason why it's short because the likelihood is relatively likely according to the bookies as well. And I will put our game of the week best bets up on the screen for anyone watching because these two do go against each other. So Tim has gone for a San Francisco win outright, which I do like the value of it at 6-5, and I've gone for the Packers -2.5. So I'm going to force Adam to pretend to be Tim with this section because I think the Packers are going to win. I do think they've got the better quarterback, the weapons as well. You wouldn't normally say that about the 49ers, but with the injuries they've got to the wide receiver position, I think that the Packers have got a better wide receiver room. And for me, I just think both defenses do give up the big plays, and I just think which offense is the one that's a bit more stable at the moment, and I think that the Packers can be that stable offense. Whereas the 49ers, we mentioned Jordan Love throwing picks, but Brock Purdy as well, since the Chiefs game, basically, has actually been worse than Jordan Love in that category of turnover-worthy plays. He started the season quite well, but he seems to have dropped off a little bit now. And I've just kind of liked the Packers all year. Their defense is a bit kind of not where I'd like it to be as someone who's backing them to cover and to win this game. But I think the offense is very good, and I do think they'll want some revenge on that divisional game that they lost last year. So yeah, I've kind of had the Packers above the 49ers in my kind of personal power rankings for odds for basically the whole season. So I'm kind of trying to stick to that. But yeah, I do think they win this game. But I do think it'll be a close, fun game. Why do you think Tim's gone for the San Fran win?
To be fair, I'm on that side as well. So yeah, I agree with you to a certain extent. I think that was a decent argument you've shown. That I think you're probably right. They probably are the better team with the injuries to the 49ers, but I just feel like the 49ers are going to come good eventually. And again, in a big game against a conference rival, I think that's where it's going to happen. I think they'll get McCaffrey working a little bit better again. As we said, turnover-worthy plays. He's way up there. Interestingly, you can get 10-11 on Brock Purdy to throw an interception as well, so that's probably not a bad one to take both of them. Obviously, Xavier McKinney has been getting them all year for the Packers. But yeah, I like Juwan Jennings. I think Debo will eventually do something. Kittle, as I say, Kittle's back. They just need to run the ball more. They need to do that, and I think, as you say, turnovers will be a key in this one. So it'll be whoever wins the turnover battle will win. And I think I probably would go for the 49ers getting points. Seems quite rare that they do. So yeah, I'm probably on Tim's side on this one.
Yeah, it's rare. Yeah, very rare that they get it, especially in NFC games. I can't remember the exact stat of the podcast I was listening to, but in NFC games, they've barely been underdog in the last 2.5 years. So yeah, it is rare for them to get points. I think I'd probably go over on the 47.5, but I wonder if that's because there's not many games I like this week in terms of high scoring, and I'm maybe kind of hoping for a high scoring game. I think I'd lean over 47.5. Do you have any opinion on the total in that game?
I'd be leaning over. Obviously, we'll have to check the weather because it is in Green Bay in the November. But yeah, I think that's the way I'd be going.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, to summarise then, unfortunately, we are going to have one loser of our on our sheet that we keep automatically with me and Tim picking different picks. We should probably talk about that before next time. But Tim's gone for the 49ers win. I've gone for the Packers -2.5 to win, obviously, and cover the spread. And then Adam's gone for a Jordan Love interception. Hopefully that's a good game the weekend. And yeah, we hope it goes over the total as well. Good for us as neutrals. Cool. Let's move on to spread of the week then. For everyone watching, again, we've got the spreads going on the ticker at the bottom. Why don't you start us off, mate? Give me your best spread for week 12.
Yeah, we were talking before the pod. I probably would change this one now if I could have been bothered, but I went for this one. It's the Seahawks -1. They're at home. They're coming off their bye week. They're hosting the Arizona Cardinals, who were they on bye last week? I think they were, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
So they're both coming off their bye week. But yeah, the Seahawks -1 at home against a Cardinals team who were I was going to say they're up and down, but they are definitely more up this year. They've definitely had a very good season. They're a team I really struggle to judge, so maybe it's one I shouldn't be going against. But the Seahawks have been really good when they've had DK Metcalf playing, and he is back this week. That was the main reason. I think they'll use Jackson Smith and Jigba a lot more. Obviously, coming into the bye, they realised that he's actually very good and gave him the ball a lot more. So I'll be expecting a lot more of him. DK Metcalf, obviously, giving them more touchdown threat. I think Noah Fant might be back as well, which gives them a little bit more at tight end, which should help. And then Kenneth Walker's obviously quite good as well. I just don't think the Cardinals will be able to do what they've been doing the last few weeks. They've been kind of dominating bad teams, running all over them. And obviously, James Conner is a pretty decent back. Kyler Murray looks like he's been locked in, whether he was over the bye week with obviously, I'm going to make the stupid joke because everyone does with Call of Duty coming out recently. Whether he's going to be as locked in as he was, I don't know. And then their passing game is kind of it's unpredictable. We'll go that way. You just don't really know. Well, I mean, I guess it's a good thing. You don't really know where the ball's going, but they seem to be working recently. I think the Seahawks with the bye week will have looked, and they'll be looking how to stop the run. And if you stop the run, I think you can stop the Cardinals.
Yeah, Gino looked really good last week against was that the 49ers? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, with those two big runs, down the stretch. So yeah, I do like that. I've liked Seattle all year. But yeah, I would stay away personally, just because I do like how Kyler's played, and I feel like all the games of him are a little bit of a kind of mystery, to be honest. And maybe that's just you, Callum, who used to formerly be a member of this pod, telling me to pick the Cardinals to win every week. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think that's a hard one to pick. But there's not many spreads that I like better than that. I really do think Gino's playing really well. And like you said, Kenneth Walker I thought played well last week as well. So if they can run the ball on the Cardinals, then they can try and dominate the game a bit. So yeah, I think it's a good shout. It's just one I'd be worried about picking.
Yeah. I've got completely muddled with last week. I forgot the Seahawks played at all. I was asleep for that one because I was getting up for the Bengals. So apologies, Seahawks fans. My handicap is terrible. I just think they're the better team.
I'm sure they'll be fine. You're picking their team to win, so that's fine. Cool. The other two picks we picked, definitely risky picks for different reasons, or I think they're risky picks. My only real reason for mine being risky, I've gone for the Steelers -3.5 against the Browns on Thursday Night Football. Is don't bet the hook when it's a field goal is a traditional thing people say, and don't bet Thursday Night Football. I've done both, so that's the reason why I would say it's a risky pick. But yeah, Jameis is throwing the ball to the other team non-stop, giving them the opportunity to catch it. The Steelers are extremely good defense at turning the ball over. They're very aggressive. I would be surprised if there wasn't at least one turnover for the Browns in this game. And then the Browns defense are good on paper, but definitely start to check out as the season's gone down the pan a little bit. They weren't very good last week. I anticipate the Steelers to be able to kind of throw the ball down the field a little bit to Mike Williams and George Pickens, like they like to do. But I do think they'll be able to run the ball and control the clock a little bit. And then when you've got James on the other side, I just think the Browns aren't going to be able to kind of establish offense as well as the Steelers are. And again, Stefanski's a good coach, but I think this will just be a game where the Steelers can coach themselves to a touchdown win. I would prefer the 3. I don't know if there's a 3 out there or if a 3 might become available by Thursday. If you can get it, then go for it. But again, I would rather just stick with 3.5 at the better odds than try and buy down to the 3 personally. So if you can find a 3 at the normal odds, do it. But if you can't, then I'm happy with Steelers minus 3.5 against the Browns. That's your division. So what do you think?
Yeah, as you say, road teams on a Thursday night is always risky. They are quite obviously the better team, but a Thursday night always seems to mess things up a bit. And with them beating, it was their game of the season last week against the Ravens. There could be a little bit of a come down from that.
Yes.
But I wouldn't be going for the Browns. Let's put it this way, even getting the 3.5. But it's one I would probably stay away from. You get Russell Wilson and Jameis to throw an interception each. It's 7-4 on Sky Bet. Obviously, Wilson's been quite clean. Pardon?
It's quite a fun bet if you're just staying up to watch the game as a neutral.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Both running backs to score, Chubb and Harris, 11-2.
Nice.
Probably not a bad one. I know Chubb hasn't exactly been brilliant, and this is where the Steelers snapped his leg last year. So probably not going to be happy memories for him. But it's not a game I'll be paying much attention to be honest.
Yeah, last time I picked Thursday was when the Texans lost to the Jets. So I'm hoping for a better Thursday night football performance than that from the Steelers. Moving on to Tim's pick then. He's picked my team. So Chiefs minus 9.5. We're trusting he's put the right odds, 4-5, against the Carolina Panthers. On the road as well, so it's a big road dog when it comes to the Panthers. I probably won't even give my opinion on this one because I'm the one that's worried, just because I am someone who's always backs the Chiefs when they are underdogs or short favourites, never backs them when they're big favourites, just because we tend to play down to our opponents. But as a neutral, what do you think about KC minus 9.5? I assume Tim is just thinking Panthers suck, Chiefs lost last week, probably going to win. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's best team in the league against worst team in the league. It's 11 points. The actual handicap, Tim's obviously brought down. That's why the odds are 4-5. So a little bit, taken a little bit off there. I personally wouldn't be going for it because the Chiefs only win by 1 score. So it's not what I would be looking at personally. But as I say, it's the best team in the league against the worst. So I get why, but it's the worst team in the league coming off a bye week. Maybe Jonathan Brooks is something. Maybe not. We'll see. He should finally get his debut. Pacheco is probably back this week. Sounds like that. To be fair, it sounds like he's definitely back, but it's not been confirmed yet. So that obviously helps the Chiefs with a little bit more on the running game. And bouncing back from last week, they're going to want to punish someone and pick on the Panthers. Why not?
Yeah, I do think the Chiefs' defense could be the key for Tim's win here, because this is not a defense that Bryce is going to love going against. If there's like one thing he struggled with is kind of reading defenses. He's not very good at kind of reading the blitz. What Spags is just going to probably blitz him the whole game. So I do think the Chiefs' defense probably helped Tim get close to the spread. It's just whether there's a backdoor cover or Andy Reid settles for some annoying field goals from like the goal line or something like that, which can happen for the Chiefs. So we'll see. I would stay away, but I'd definitely stay away at 11.5. 9.5 is a bit more appealing. You alluded to another spread that you like, maybe even more than the one you picked. So do you want to tell everyone what your second favorite was? Because it was the same as mine.
Yeah, Bucks minus 6 at the Giants. Obviously, the Giants they're protecting their investment. Let's put it that way. They don't want Daniel Jones to get injured because they'll be on the hook for I think 25 million if he does. So I think it's a fairly sure sign that they're going to try and get rid of him over the summer. So Tommy DeVito's coming in for the Giants, and he's he's not a good quarterback. He won a couple of games last year, but he's not good at all. And then they don't really have the running game. They have Malik Neighbors. That's pretty much all they've got on their team. So the Bucks, I think I read earlier, Mike Evans is looking like he's coming back or going to be back in a week or two. But even without him, the Bucks are putting up points. They nearly beat the Chiefs, as well. To be fair, most teams do against the Chiefs, but they never do. They kept it close at least, and yeah, Baker Mayfield's been playing well, and I think he'll be able to beat up on a poor Giants team. So even 6 points on a road, I was happy with that. So that probably would be there'll be one. Let's put it this way: it'll be one that I'll put in my picks contest that I'm in.
Yeah, definitely. That was my second favorite as well, and I think I heard Adam Levitan, who does a lot of daily fantasy, mention that passing props for the Bucks running backs will be really good in this game. Giants aren't very good. They're good against stopping the run. They're not very good at stopping kind of dump offs to the backfield. So if you're someone that likes Rashad White or Bucky Irving, two players that are quite explosive. Rashad White's not very good at running. When he catches it, he makes people miss. And Bucky Irving's been really good. So there'll be two players in that game that I'd think about going the over. Again, we're recording this early, so there might not be lines available, but I do like the over on some of their receptions and their yardage in terms of catching rather than running. So yeah, I think that's a good shout. There wasn't many others that I loved because I can't suggest the Rams every week, so I'm officially not suggesting the Rams. But I think Ravens -2.5 would be the only other one. A bit of a bounce back spot against the Chargers. I think both teams are good, but I do think the Ravens are a better team. And again, I just think that's one thing the Chargers haven't got is being able to cope against an explosive offense like the Bengals got going in the second half and then he caught up with them last week. I think the Ravens, after a bit of a disappointing loss last week, will start the game a lot faster. And it is obviously a Harbaugh v. Harbaugh, quite a fun game. So yeah, I like the idea of Ravens -2.5. Okay, Rashad White 2.5 receptions. See, I like that. I don't know what Bucky Irving is, but I like Rashad White.
Yeah, they've only got Rashad White up at the moment, and 10-17. It'll be over 3.5 tomorrow. Probably at 10-11, because that's his normal line is 3.5. He has let me down a few times this year where I thought he will. Like you look at previous weeks and he has 6 or 7, and then the week that I burn he has 1. So it's probably not one I'll go with because he's just been a jinx for me. But yeah, like you say, yeah, Rams Eagles. I don't want to touch. I think it should be quite a close game. I do think the Eagles will win that one, so I didn't want to touch that one. I did like who was it? I was looking at one. I think the Lions 7.5, but again, it's on the road against the Colts. But the Lions have just been dominant recently, so I don't mind that one. The Commanders -10 hosting the Cowboys. The Cowboys are terrible, but it's 10 points. I couldn't do that one. I don't do double digits.
Yeah, I'm scared. What about Broncos -5.5? That's one I've seen a lot of people tip in against the Raiders.
The Raiders are terrible as well, so yeah, I don't mind that one at all. And to be fair, I didn't mind the Patriots -7 hosting the. So no, that's a lie. I didn't mind the Dolphins hosting the Patriots. Dolphins -7, just because I think I get the feeling the Dolphins are kind of feeling their way back into the season, and it's still not entirely dead for them. It's not great, but yeah, I think they will kill the Patriots this week. To be honest, I think eventually they're going to smash someone, and I think it might be this one.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a chance for that. Even though Drake May looks pretty good, the defense doesn't look very good. It's all for the Patriots. Cool. Let's move on then from spreads and then go on to totals. So again, if you're watching on YouTube or watching it back, you can see the spreads, the totals going on the ticker at the bottom. Let's start with Tim's first because it is linked to the game we've already spoken about. He's gone for under 47.5, by the way, after us saying that we'd go over. He's gone for under 47.5 in that game. I don't really fully know the logic, apart from I'm going to go is outside. You might be thinking that. Jordan Love throws picks, so that ruins drives. And I assume he also thinks Brock Purdy is terrible at football, would be my assumption. But me and you are both on the over, so it's not really much we can add to that total, I suppose. Cool. Let's move on to your game then, one that I mentioned earlier. What's your spread total?
Yeah, Chargers and Ravens over 50. Basically the same handicap as I would have given for Chargers versus Bengals last week is Ravens pass defense is terrible. Obviously their run defense is pretty good. but Justin Herbert finding his way in this offense now. So I just think that they're going to throw all over them as they did with the Bengals last week. I think McConkey obviously went for 120th. Quinton Johnson had a decent game. And yeah, they just moved the ball fairly easy, especially in the first half. I think it could be a similar thing with the Chargers in this one. And then the Ravens, we know that they can keep up with people scoring if the other team's scoring. So yeah, I just think it's going to be another 27-30 kind of game. And I think it'll be quite close, but quite high scoring.
Yeah, I agree. Chargers defense is pretty good, but the Ravens offense, apart from the Steelers, is that outside the North. Apart from the Bengals, that's also high scoring. But when they play the Browns and the Steelers, the Ravens don't score many points. But against the rest of the league, they seem to score 30 points every week. So yeah, I do imagine they'll score some points. And again, Justin Herbert's been top 4 or 5 QB this year, so I think he'll be throwing the ball over the place. So yeah, I think that's a good bet. I feel like those games as well go over more likely in those kind of island windows, like Monday night when you've got more time to prepare, Sunday night when you've got more time to prepare, that you can see some big totals. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think that's a good shout. As long as you don't get some annoying turnovers that cost you points at the end of drives, I think that'll be a good bet. Where is it, by the way? LA or Baltimore?
LA again, yeah. So the Chargers aren't having to go anywhere, hosting another high-scoring team. I don't. Obviously, Chargers defense on paper looks really good, but they've only played one real good offense, and they gave up 27 points last week. So yeah, I think it'll be similar this one.
Yeah, it's inside as well, obviously, so you're not going to have a weather issue.
Yeah,
yeah.
Justin Tucker might actually convert a field goal.
I hope not. He's jinxed himself. He tried to mess with the god Patrick Mahomes before a playoff game, and he's completely jinxed his whole career. So there we go.
I don't know what Evan bloody McPherson did then, because he's jinxed himself somehow as well.
Maybe it's the AFC North, mate. I don't know what the Browns did. The Browns kick and miss 3 kicks or something the other day as well. So it might be the North, apart from the Steelers. The Steelers have jinxed you.
Apart from Chris Boswell, who's maybe Chris Boswell's got a voodoo doll of everyone, and he's just breaking everyone else.
Maybe that'd be some investigative journalism we'll have to do outside the podcast. Also. And then, yeah, my total, which was wrong on the sheet, so we'll see what you've typed up if you've typed the right one. I put it's the Commanders Cowboys under 44.5. The sheet said over, and I was looking, being like, have I picked over in that game? But no,
I thought you said over.
I have picked under. Yeah, I guess some very similar reasons to what you said earlier, to be honest. Cowboys are not very good. I can't remember. I know Cooper Rush threw for 300 yards this week, but they scored 10 points. The game before that, I think he threw 45 yards or something crazy.
Yeah.
He's not very good. Trey Lance is the backup. He's not very good. The offensive line isn't very good, and they haven't got many people to throw to. So I don't think the Cowboys will score many points. And I do think, even though Jaden Daniels has played well, in terms of passing, I do think with Micah Parsons back in the lineup, I think the Cowboys could give him some trouble as well. I think this might be a heavy run game for the Commanders, which could slow the clock down. And we know the Cowboys are going to try and run it because they've got kind of no other offense at the moment with who their quarterback is. So for me, I think both teams will run it a lot. I don't think the Cowboys will score many points. And I just think Micah Parsons could be enough against an average offensive line to cause some trouble. So, yeah, I see this game in the 30s rather than getting above 44.5. So, yeah. Any thoughts on 44.5 in that game?
Yeah, I'd take 30. I'd take 30 to 10 for the Commanders. I'd be happy with that one. I think there's a decent chance it ends around that. I saw the box score of Cooper Rush, and I find it difficult that they put up 400 yards and still only scored 10 points. It just doesn't seem to connect. But
garbage time a lot of it.
Yeah, but it was fumbles and interceptions, and it was. Yeah. I mean, they kind of have to go through it because they know that their defense isn't going to hold up. But they're a mess of a team at the moment, and I think I always say Mike McCarthy. I think Mick McCarthy might be on his way out finally.
No, it is Mike McCarthy.
Oh, I got them wrong, didn't I? Yeah, I
was thinking, wait, Mick McCarthy? He's the Ipswich.
No, I actually got it right. Maybe my head is actually correct for NFL finally, and Mick McCarthy's been gone from football for so long that he's gone from my mind now. I think Mike McCarthy obviously knows he's going soon.
Yeah, they're very similar dinosaur type coaches when it comes to their own. Their own sport. But yeah, I do think that game's going to go under. I'd be disappointed if I lost that bet, but we'll see on Sunday. Cool. On to touchdown scorers then. In that very game, the Commanders Dallas game, again, another pick where Tim has to pick a player or a team against the Cowboys. He's picked Jay Daniels to score an anytime touchdown, 21-20 at the odds down here. He's, like I mentioned, I do think the game will be quite run heavy. Again, in the red zone, I don't think you're going to want to risk Micah Parsons going against those tackles. So I think it's a pretty good shout for him that he's going to be scrambling a little bit in this game. And he's already scored rushing touchdowns this year. As long as Eckler, who's got a lot more of the kind of goal line work recently, doesn't kind of pillage his touchdowns, I do think Jaden Daniels is a pretty good shout in that game, mate. Don't know what you think.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. As you say, he has scored earlier in the season. They seem to have gone away a bit from that, and obviously you got Brian Robinson and Eckler now, so it is a little tougher. But yeah, they should be dominating this game, so maybe they will let him have a go with one. I've only put 21-20 because we are doing it early. As I was just looking at 365. Seems like it's the only place that's got odds up yet. So you might be able to get 7-4. Paddy Power only has best odds on pretty much everyone, frankly, recently. So you might be able to get a little bit better on him, and I like that a bit more.
Nice, cool. Who have you got? You got him for someone that I tried recently and didn't quite win for me. So you've gone back to the well.
Yeah, they're playing the Bears defense. I've gone for Justin Jefferson, 11-10. Again, it was plus money. I was quite happy seeing him at that price. So yeah, I just think the Bears. Obviously, they sorted out their offensive coordinator last week. They still put up 20 points, and that was it. They did have a better performance all round, but I think the Vikings, well, just get the ball to Justin Jefferson, and he'll find a way. He always puts up the yards. Admittedly, he is a little bit off on touchdowns, and he always seems to be. But yeah, it was plus money, so I was quite happy with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I picked him 2 weeks ago, and the best odds we could get was 10 to 11, so the other way around. So 2 weeks and no touchdowns, even though he's still the most important player on their offense, and you get 11-10. So I do like those odds. And again, the Bears defense has been good on paper, started the season well, but they've really been bad against wide receiver ones in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I think that's a good shout. After probably 2 or 3 bad games now from Sam Darnold, they're going to be wanting to try and get the ball out of his hands into Justin Jefferson's hands as quickly as possible. So I think that's a good shout. Again, we are recording this early, so I didn't have much time. So I've gone with a one close to home in the Panthers-Chiefs game. I've gone for Kareem Hunt to score anytime. He is odds on at the moment, but I do think probably won't be tomorrow. It might be Friday that you'll see Isaiah Pacheco get announced as playing, and I think the odds might change then because people are going to bet on Pacheco, and then I think they'll start to flip away from Hunt. So I'd probably wait until that's confirmed, maybe bet it on the day. Because again, Pacheco's coming back, for anyone that doesn't know, from a broken leg, basically, in like 7 weeks. So I do not think they're going to give him the goal line carries when there's loads of people around in a game against the Panthers. I think that would be a very stupid thing to do. So I imagine he'll take a lot of the second down, third down work, and we'll probably see Kareem Hunt take all the hard yards when it comes to goal line and third and shorts as well. So yeah, I just think he's got a good chance of scoring. He's scored in a lot of the games that he's played this year, and again, the odds are really odds on. But if you wait for Pacheco to get announced in, then I think the odds should change. So yeah, that'd be one for me. Any other players you like for touchdowns or any totals or anything? Obviously, I mentioned the Bucks running backs for Bucky Irving and Rashad White over on receptions when they come out and yards. But were there any others that you liked?
Yeah, I'd probably go George Pickens again, 7-5. Obviously, that's tomorrow night. Even Jahmyr Gibbs, he's 4-6, is on 365 now. You might be able to get closer to evens again. I'm quite happy to take him if he's 5-6. And yeah, I don't really have anyone at big prices. Again, it's tough when, frankly, I use Oddschecker all the time. It's tough not using Oddschecker and just having to scroll through things yourself. But yeah, there weren't too many. Obviously, this weekend without the Bengals playing for me, it's going to be a little bit of a tougher one because trying to pay attention to when you're not that interested is a little bit more difficult. But yeah, there wasn't really that many that I liked, to be honest, this early.
Do we know if they have made CMC's odds a bit more palatable, or is he still
8-15? I think he was, so tiny bit better.
Honestly, weirdly, never thought I'd say this. If you asked me 6 months ago, would I say this? The answer would be no. I prefer Kareem Hunt odds on than I do CMC odds on, which I never thought I would say. 6 months ago. I thought I was taking crazy pills. You'd have to section me from this podcast if I'd have said that. But there we go. But yeah, there weren't any other any obvious ones. I don't actually mind the Josh Jacobs overs in that game. I don't know what the Russian total is, but yeah, they're
Only 1.5.
So again.
71.5 because I had a look at that one earlier.
Yeah, I actually like that, to be honest. 49ers aren't incredible against the run. I do think the Packers will try and do that to kind of dominate the clock and not let the 49ers offense on the field non-stop. So, yeah, I do quite like that in that game. Cool. Any other picks for you, or is that it?
No, again, we look through the week and see what I can come up with. But yeah, nothing much more this early.
Cool. Yeah, make sure you follow Adam, everyone, and see what his picks are when it comes to the weekend. Cool. Let's go over our best bets then. In terms of spread, Tim's gone for the Chiefs minus 9.5 against the Panthers. I've gone for the Steelers minus 3.5 against the Browns on Thursday Night Football, and Adam's gone for the Seahawks minus 1 against the Cards. For totals, Tim's gone under in the Green Bay 49ers game, which is under 47.5. I've gone for under 44.5 for the Commanders Cowboys game, and Adam's gone for over 50 in the Chargers and the Ravens game, the Harbaugh Bowl on Monday night. And then finally, touchdown scorer, Tim's gone for Jaden Daniels against the Cowboys. I've gone for Kareem Hunt for the Chiefs against the Panthers, and then Justin Jefferson is Adam's pick for the Vikings against the Bears. So yeah, some good picks. We know we can't go 12, so our aim is 11, and me to be right and Tim to be wrong. That'd be beautiful. So we're gonna go for 11. Thanks everyone for listening. Please remember to follow us at Full 10 Yards on Twitter /X. Please follow Adam as well at Touchdown Tips. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. We'll be back for week 13. Hopefully we won everyone some money. Please remember to gamble responsibly and enjoy week 12.